I don't know if you've noticed or not, the Middle East is a mess right now. Oy vey. But right now what I want to do is remind ourselves that there are nice, normal, regular people here in Israel, in Iran, in Gaza, Bahrain that's been catching a ton of bombs, or Azerbaijan who is shrugging its shoulders asking themselves, wait, why did we also get shot at? There's over a dozen countries right now that are locked in a war that is the culmination of 2 years, 5 months, and 5 days since this war began. October 7th seems like a lifetime ago. Since then, regimes have fallen and dictators have been destroyed, and there's no peace on the horizon. I'm not naive enough to believe that somehow this is going to have a happy ending. Those Disney days of my youth no longer exist. And yet, I'm still hopeful. It's not without a sense of irony that Israel's national anthem is called Tikva, hope. And this is a society that is indeed very hopeful. The amount of children that I just walk past at the playground, goofing off and playing and being silly like children are supposed to do. And while they should be in school, those are closed because bombs are falling. And yet it reminds me there's still hope. And as I see these little children playing and being wonderful, I also see their parents nervously hoping that there's not going to be an air raid siren that rings out and they have to go running into the bomb shelter like I did with my daughter 2 days ago. It's a strange reality, and I think the resolute nature of the Israeli people is inspiring and hopeful. It's tired, it's frustrating, it's bad jokes online and cynical humor to keep us going and probably too much alcohol to abate our anxiety. But here we are. It's been 2.5 years of war, and the American army, the biggest, greatest army in the world, and the Israeli army, the smallest yet strongest army in the Middle East, are fighting together against a regime that is nothing less than cruel and rather horrible for 1,000 good reasons that I don't care to explain, but I'll mention one thing since I hear from a lot of friends back home who are confused as to why we're fighting this war, why they feel like they've been dragged into this war by the Israelis. And there's some truth to this. Yes, Israel probably whispered loudly into Donald Trump's ear for all the good reasons why America should finally, after 40 years of engaging with the Islamic Revolution and the Ayatollahs, be done with diplomacy and pull out the big guns. And I think for the most part that was the right choice, even though it comes with the unknown consequences of what might be. I know America has a bad taste in its mouth from Iraq and Afghanistan and boots on the ground in Somalia. These are all factors that weigh heavy on the psyche of the American population, not to mention the fact that the president didn't even bother to ask very much of Congress. This impulsive man is indeed dangerous, but he's also instinctually right in this regard. I don't know what the horizon will look like after this is over and the bombs stop falling, but I hope to some extent we have enough capacity for diplomatic and political arm wrestling so that the Iranians can understand once and for all their exportation of revolution has to come to an end. And their endless war against the Jews in the Eastern Hemisphere has been futile. And if we're going to ever do something better in this part of the world, it's going to have to come with a little bit of Persian pizzazz and Jewish chutzpah and wisdom. Those two forces from the east and the western side of the Middle East have the potential to change the whole world for better and do amazing things. But the extremity and the radicalism of my government, let alone theirs, has to really abate if we're ever going to properly figure this game out. If you're still scratching your head and wondering why we're in this war together, I invite you to explore the internet for testimonies of young women from last month and the month before who were out protesting for freedom and for rights and for dignity, who found themselves in the hands of the Basij, the Iranian shock troops, Gestapo soldiers who rape little girls before killing them so that they don't go to heaven as virgins, who mutilate women and blind them as part of their torture before sending them home, who charge parents money for bullets that they extracted from their children's riddled bodies. This is a regime of cruelty and horror that has desecrated the Persian legacy and simply turned the good name of Islamic piety into a radical force of inhumanity. That might not be enough reason to send your F-16s over to the Middle East to have to drop bombs on these regime figures, but it's not the worst reason. Bad reasons are plenty, and good reasons are plenty, and we need to be able to act as rational and emotional creatures and decide for ourselves, as well as accept the inevitability that this is taking place. I got into an awkward online fight with a character who I was friends with up until recently on Facebook, and she was wringing her hair over the 160 schoolgirls that were killed in this war. And she's a proud Jewish Zionist. And I said to her, do you know how many children our army has mistakenly killed over the last 2 years in Gaza? And I know you hate Trump, and I know you're feeling that your liberal agenda has been abandoned by this situation, but mistakes happen. Accidents happen. The US government does not drop bombs on children on purpose in order to kill children. They try to kill the IRGC regime military base that happened to be right next to that school, and they missed. I am sadly desensitized to some of these sorrows and horrors because 2 years and 5 months of war means my broken heart is a little bit iced over. It hurts. It still hurts. I do my best to empathize with my enemy and their children, but at the same time, the big picture has to somewhat compartmentalize those schoolgirls and pray for their souls and shame ourselves to a certain degree for the misfires, but also be able to move forward and look forward to what may come the day after. A very strange man who I immortalized as a young college kid named Che Guevara, an Argentine doctor who became revolutionary, said something that has stuck with me for these many years. After the revolution, beauty is needed. And I hope after this war, we can find the beautiful, both in Israel and Iran, and in rebuilding a better future, so that our children don't have to experience these endless nights in bomb shelters and dark places where our soul has to hide in order to escape the sadness and sorrow of our inhumanity. Thank you for listening. God bless. Pray for tomorrow.